Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel Made with Love. My name is Heather and today I am going to be using these nice soft pet blankets from the dollar store, and I'm going to turn them into pet stockings. So I've got three different ones here. So I got this blue one with the bones. I'm going to make my puppy one out of this one, and I got a cat with the blue with the paw prints. I'm going to make that for my little girl kitty, and I've got this brown one with the paw prints. I'm gonna make that for my little boy kitty. So these blankets, I had to buy one. I actually had two already at the house because I kind of use them when my cats and dogs come in from outside when it's raining and muddy and stuff. I always have a few extra, but for this I needed three, so I had to go and buy another one. So last night I went to the dollar store, so $3.50 from Dollarama. I know Dollar Tree used to have them for about $1.25. I haven't seen them for a while, but just gonna say, yeah, so this is, okay, I forgot to say what this was, but this is Tuesday, December the 21st, and today is my 11th day out of my 12 days of Christmas crafting. So it's almost Christmas, just a few more days. So I'm just gonna move my camera to angle it down so you can see what I'm doing. So first thing first is I'm just going to, just wants to lean. I think I pulled the wire. There. Just move the wires out of the way. So I'm just going to take one of these, and I'm just going to fold it in half. So I got like so I'm going to have the the one that has the pattern on it on the outside and the straight one on the inside. So I'm just going to fold it so I get, so it'll look like this. These again are from the dollar store, so I found that even though they have an approximate size, that, you know, my edges, I'm holding the corners, but they're not lining up. There's just, I'm going to do the best I can, because they're not perfectly straight. I even had the three of them laid out and they are not even identical for sizing, but that's okay. So I'm going to do it this way. So I've got the folded edge down here. I'm going to use that for the bottom part, so it's one less part I'd have to stitch. And I've got one of these little stockings I already have. I'm going to use this as my template. I'm just going to see, I'm just trying to figure out how I can make this so I have the least amount of stitching possible. Let's see, where's my camera? There. So I'm going to lay it like this. So this is my folded edge here. And then I'm going to use the folded edge as the longest folded edge of the stocking. I'm just going to line it right there. Like that. That's how I want it, except I realized that because I'm going to be sewing it, I need to have it flip the other way, right sides together. See, I am new to sewing. I am trying to teach myself how to sew simple, easy projects, and I sometimes forget right sides together. So I've got it this way, so I want the stocking to sit like here. So I'm just going to grab my marker and I'm just going to trace this out so I'll know where to cut. I'm using a Sharpie because this is really thick, harder material, and I've tried the chalk that I have, and the chalk just, I couldn't even see the line. And I'm just going to give myself a bit of a larger stocking, so I just want to use as much of this blanket as possible. I just pull this up so I can get around this corner a little bit easier, so I can have where I want it rounded. That and foot. I want the foot to be more rounded over here, so I want it straight here and more rounded here. I just want to use as much of this blanket as possible. So I've got my boot kind of figured out here. And then I know that I'm kind of figuring out how, I'm just going to draw myself a little line because I do want to do a decorative, oops, let me just move this down so you can see. I do want to give myself a little decorative edging for the boots. You know, most stockings have, you know, the little white snow part, so I do want to add that in, but this is a good size stocking I've got here. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other two. I am just going to grab these. I'm going to fold them right sides together. I'm just going to lay this down. Now, this one seems a little bit bigger. Okay, so I'm just going to, again, I'm going to use this stitched edge as the back of my thing. So I don't have to stitch, so I won't have to stitch this back part, but I'll have to stitch around everywhere else. I'm just going to roughly just kind of trace around the stocking here. So that's 2 done, and then got 1 more to do. I said this was just a simple, easy, last minute thought I had, because sometimes I find it hard to find pet stockings. Oops, sorry. Sometimes I find it hard to find the pet stockings or even kid stockings. So this is where you can always just how to customize stockings and how can you make them yourself. I've always wanted to make some for my kids, and I just never had never really had the time to do it. Just, you know, you can buy the stockings all made at the dollar store. There, so I've got all 3 stockings traced out. Just gonna curve this down just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to pin these together and cut out. Forgot to grab my pins. So I'm just gonna pin it in a few places. I will get the clips. I have them. They're upstairs. I'm downstairs in my lower level part of my house. Just going to pin these kind of together just in a few spots, and then I will cut it out, and then I will be able to start to actually sew. There. I'm just going to cut this one out. Just never done this before. It's just interesting to see if it will work. I'm going to cut. My scissors don't want to cut for some reason. Just making sure I'm not cutting anything I don't want to cut, so I'll make sure I'm just cutting. There, so now I have the one stocking cut out, ready to stitch. So I'm going to cut out the other 2 stockings, and I will be back when I'm ready to stitch. Alright, so now I'm on the machine. I've got it's all lined up here. I'm just trying to got my machine all threaded. So now I'm just going to stitch right along here. I was just testing out my machine, so I'm having trouble with it. one of the things I told my husband I want for Christmas is a sewing machine, so I'm hinting at. Just find with this material, it's so thick that I have to go extra slow. Don't want to run over the pins. I just have to go extra slow with this. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch around the whole stocking where I had cut. And I don't think you really need to watch me do this because it's going to take a few minutes because I've got to go so slow. So I will be back when I've got most of this done and I'm just going around the foot. Okay, so I've stitched all the way around here. And the round it's kind of tricky in a few spots, like trying to get around the toe, because it's just when I'm trying to turn the material, it's so thick and fluffy. I'm just trying to trim off any extra little pieces that are just a little too much. So now I am going to, oops, just going to turn this right side so you can see what it looks like. So there is one. So there is the, dropping little pins on my knee or on my lap. So there is one done. So I've got two more to sew. Same thing, it's just pretty easy. Now I've done one. I think I can go a little faster, but I think on this one, I think I might, oops, this wasn't pinned very good. I think on this one, I'm gonna go the other direction, just go around the toe a little slower. Few more pins here to hold it together. I think that might be part of the problem too, is I just wasn't using enough pins. I was just trying to get this done fast. There, a few more pins there. So on this one, I think I'm going to stitch this one the other way. I'm going to stitch it from the bottom up and see if that makes it easier for me to control. Maybe not. No, just looking, oh, I just dropped a whole bunch of pins, just fell out when I picked it up like that. These pins don't want to stay in this material. Okay, well, I'm just going to stitch it the same way because I realized how much material it is. I've got my line marked on this side. I don't have the line on that side. It might be just a little bit trickier, so I do want to just follow my my marker outline so I know right where to stitch. So I'm just gonna do the same, oops, this one, if I can get this under here. And I'm gonna remember to always back stitch your first little bit. Machine is making a funny sound. It doesn't want to go any faster. I think it's just this material. It's just all fluffy, and when I cut it, it's all just fraying and leaving all these little fluffy bits everywhere. So now I'm just going to kind of turn it as I go around the corner here, around like the top of the foot and around the toes and around the heel. Around the other way, around this toe. One of the reasons I'm using this sewing machine a lot right now is I told my husband I'd like a new one for Christmas, but he said I don't even use this one. So I said, well, if I start using this one, and show you that, you know, I can make stuff, but it's hard with a machine that's kind of old and doesn't do too much. It's just a basic sewing machine. So I guess if I start using it, maybe I'll get one. Pins are just kind of in my way as well. Oh, what happened? Okay, I didn't even notice that. I did hear a funny sound. So I'm gonna have to redo the back part because I just realized that there's no thread coming up where the bobbin part was. Looks like my bobbin is empty, so I guess I'll have to put new thread on my bobbin. I'm just gonna stitch this last little bit here, just like about 2 inches. That's probably why it made a funny sound. I didn't really notice. I just thought it was the machine just having trouble with the material. So let me just stitch this one little section here and I'll be back. Now, I'm wondering if somebody could tell me what I keep doing wrong, because my thread, it was all done. It did a couple stitches and all of a sudden now my, if I can get in here, you can see it's no longer, the needle is no longer threaded, but the thread is still coming and it's in the material. So unless it just snapped, I don't know, but maybe it just snapped. But there was another time when it did that, and this material, the thread was in through the material, but it wasn't through the whole of the needle. So just, if anybody knows what keeps causing my thread to snap or my needle to come on thread, that would be really helpful. I know my zoom function is just not working very good. Okay, all right, I've almost got this one done. I just had this little space here where it kind of, the stitching came out on me. I'm just gonna finish this one spot here. Now that I've made a couple of these, I have some helpful tips so I can do it again. This was fun making these. So I'm just going to cut off some of this extra material here. Just a little bit too much because they weren't quite lined up quite right. Because I said just the dollar store little pet blankets, so they weren't all evenly the same size. I had 3 of them. They all say they should be about the same size, and they weren't. So I'm just gonna flip this one back around to the right side. Now with this type of material, what I should have done was just pinned it and sewn it and then cut it, because if I found when I cut it I was getting all this flaky stuff. See, if I go like this, you can see all this stuff flying. So this was all getting caught in my machine, all these little cut pieces. So I think that was part of why I was having trouble. Let me angle my camera. I'm not sure what just happened. My camera just went black. Okay, so I think it was this stuff here. It's cut. All these little frayed pieces are coming. It was getting caught in my machine, going under where the bobbin was. I actually got a chunk of this out from behind the bobbin. Don't know how it got pulled in under there. So I think the next time I make stuff with this type of material, I'll probably sew first and then cut. But I've got my 3 pet stockings are now made. I'm just dropping more of the little pins all over my floor. So I'm just going to move my sewing machine and lay out the pet stockings so you can see what I have so far. All right, so here is the pet stockings, what they look like. I will hang these up in a few moments as well, but I just also like to just add some trim to them. So what I have is this icicle foam stuff, or not foam, it's the garland stuff from the dollar store, so it's a felt, that's what I meant. So I've got a few little pieces of this, so I'm gonna just hot glue these onto here. I should have sewn first. Should have sewn these on first. I forgot I was gonna do that. So I'm just gonna get my hot glue. I'm just gonna glue these on and I'm gonna hang them up. And I also realized I forgot to make a little hanger for them, so I will do that. So I'll be back when I get the icicles glued on and I got these hung up. All right, so there's the 3 pet stockings hanging up. So I just hot glued this little icicle felt strip on each of them. I was supposed to sew it before I sewed it all together, but I totally forgot. Same with, I forgot to make my little hooks thing so you can hang them up. So I'm just using a binder clip at the moment. The next thing I have to do is I'm just going to label them for each of the pets, get their own little stocking this year. So there is the one. That'll be my Davy. He's 11 years old. And there's this one. This will be for Ninja. And she's about 8 years old. And this one's for our puppy, Eleanor. Oops. And she is going to be 5 soon. Okay, I hope everybody likes my tutorial. I've never made anything with those pet blankets before, but now that I have, I'm just really curious as to what else I can actually make out of the pet blankets or the other baby blankets that the dollar stores sell. So it's going to be really fun being able to use that as another resource material. So again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's subscribing and watching my videos, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!